That's why it's not important.
That I can handle.
The whole phone's kind of broke. It shouldn't be bent like a top.
It makes sense. It's good bands.
Yeah, this is not what it was.
What is the original?
Oh, crap, it's good for time. Snuck up on us, guys.
If you would please, someone call the roll.
Brian Henry.
Here?
Walker Henson.
Here.
David Trojan. Here. Scott Orr. Cole Ream.
Here.
Marvin Cusick.
Here.
Donald Roberts. Michael O'Brien.
Here.
Clarence O'Malley.
Here.
Malley, I apologize. Greg Hobb.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, sir. If we have a quorum, I hereby call the January meeting of the Metropolitan Area Planning Commission to order. First item on the agenda is to consider approval of minutes of the December 18, 2023 MAPC meeting.
So moved. Second.
Motion is second to approve the minutes. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And that is approved unanimously. Next item is use by review. Hold a public hearing and consider approval of a use by review for Jeremy and Carissa Franklin for a single-family dwelling to be located at 5010 East Market Avenue.
Good evening. Good evening. This is, of course, a use by review. It's a use by review because it is an industrial zoned area. We are allowed to do a use by review for a residential single dwelling in an I-3 because we can go back to I-2. I-2 allows us to do single family in the zoning. What we're looking at here, let's go ahead and get the tough stuff out of the way. We'll talk about it being in the flood area. Is that correct, Jason? Flood area. They are out of the floodway. Jason is going to request a letter that they are out of the floodway, and staff will review that. I think that kind of answers that question there. The next question we would have is the departure zone. It is, we have called Keston at the airport, is going to be, did you say the height, total height was 16 feet? At the tallest, it'll be 16 feet. So we are not in any way concerned about it being in the departure zone. You've got the plans for the house. It is a large house, but it is workable on this land. The driveway, if I remember right, is outlined in purple on this slide here. Is that correct, Jason? You were a part of that.
I think so, I'm sorry, I can't see that well.
Does it,
I believe it is.
does it cross over the creek in any manner? Okay. I know that was a question that was posed. So it does not cross the creek. At this point, we are looking, I gave you a list of the use by review qualifications. What we'd be looking for is A, B, C, and D. I can read them off if you'd like. But these are the criterias that we can authorize this structure.
How large a tract does the applicant own?
That is, I
It's
forget
about
the-
54 acres roughly.
Own it all, basically.
Yes, they bought the whole.
And how many acres was that, Scott?
Did you say 50?
It's around 54. I can't remember exactly.
Thank you, Cole.
I will make one change, Scott, on
Sir.
the application prior to the city assigning an address. The applicant had put 5220 East Market, and our agenda shows a 5010 East Market.
Correct.
Which I'm assuming came about after city, most people don't know, but the city of Enid actually, community
Right.
development actually assigns those addresses. So if we can just amend or make some kind of note that the 5010 East Market
Okay.
Avenue address is correct, and
Okay.
that the application is in fact good, so they don't have to make another application.
Understood.
I also assume, since that says that sewer is not available, they will use septic.
Correct. It will be septic and well both.
Okay.
And then we'll have to get with DEQ for the septic. We have concerns that it is in the flood area, so DEQ may have questions about that. One of the other things we wanted to make you aware about is there is a sewer facility about 1,500
2,500.
2,500 feet to the southwest of it. Every once in a while, the smell does flow that direction. Just wanted you to be aware of that. And of course, it's in the flood areas. I think you were fully
And the
aware
reason
of that.
that's important is because, believe it or not, we have people that live out there that call and complain about the smell. They told me this morning somebody was wanting to build a house there. I wanted to make sure that we let them know it's by a sewer plant.
Our sewage doesn't stink.
So I will expect no complaints. Yours might not, but other people's do.
Where's the nearest located house to this? Because I've got a ton of questions, but I think you can answer it with just that.
Yeah, to the, believe it or not, if you can see, well, that's not it.
You can see better probably if you show up there. Yeah.
There we go.
Like it's
That's what I was trying to get. This right here is actually a house.
Okay.
So the way this lot is angled, there is an angle that leads to the drive to where you can go here. But this is the closest house right here. I would assume off of this measurement, if we're looking at, maybe 750 feet.
So there's almost no way, unless they just put like a mountain of fill, that it's going to be able to adversely impact that house.
On this one,
Correct.
that would be what I'm seeing. I would let the engineers look at that, though.
Okay.
That house is also industrially zoned.
Okay. Well, my biggest thing is, and I'm sure that you guys will go through this, it's more of a code thing than this, but you're going to account for drainage and fill and all of that good fun stuff? Okay.
Correct. That's a part of our normal.
And there's some,
I got that thinking hat on.
I completely understand.
there's some other residences along Market and 42nd that are also zoned I-3 industrial.
Sure.
That's kind of just a weird little area.
Well, and really where I was going with that is, if they are in the floodplain, it's reasonable to think that FEMA is going to require that they have to put some sort of pad or something underneath there. So that water's got to go somewhere. Just want to make sure that it's not going to increase drainage on somebody else.
And that was one of the first questions
Yeah.
that engineering had was how might this adversely affect?
Yeah, I was just
So we
looking at that, though, it's kind of hard to imagine that
Right.
they're not already aware that there's probably some issues.
There's a chance that there may be water.
Yeah, one point of clarity I'd just like to throw out there is the light gray is a 500-year flood.
Okay.
So that's the lower probability area. The area that's the darker blue with the hatched, that's the floodway, so that's the more higher probability of flood happening in that area. And they cannot build in that area.
Sure.
I mean, period, not the city. The city doesn't say that, FEMA says it. So.
Okay.
So there's probably not a good orientation here, but the way we're looking at it is up would be west, to the right would be north.
Okay.
On this orientation, on the picture that we're looking at currently.
The intersection of the red lines is approximately this, where the center of the dwelling will be.
Correct. It
The
looks like
dwelling.
they have drawn out the structure.
And the dwelling was 60 by 80.
I believe that was correct. Yes, 60 by 80,
Is there a,
plus a covered lean-to.
is there, it might be difficult, or at least it is for me on this map. How many feet from maybe the center of the building to the closest dark blue?
I see what you're asking, yeah.
Like a site plan?
That would come across during the site. It wouldn't be a site plan, but it would be a plot plan that we would be looking at that. And that's something that staff would be able to look at a little bit. We will look at more in depth. That might help you.
Oh, because it's a little,
Do you want to pass that around? Maybe they'd like to see it.
Is that the correct orientation?
There's the correct orientation.
Yes.
And I apologize, because I might have got us going in the weeds, so let me back up here. This is only for the zoning portion. We're kind of overthinking this about the
Correct.
flood area.
The only
Sorry.
thing you guys are looking at is whether the house can be in this I-3 zoning.
okay.
Staff does look at the floodway, staff does look at the driveway. That is something that we take into account before we even issue the building permit, so.
It's on the back of my presentation.
It's the same thing,
Yeah. It's the same thing it goes.
I think I'd like to make a motion to approve if we're done with questions.
Have motion to approve.
I have 2 seconds.
Pick one.
I got Hob.
I've got a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Those opposed? And that motion carries.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Next item is a lot split. Consider approval of a lot split. Excuse me, for Steve Carrington for property located at 122 West Chestnut Avenue.
All right, we've got a application for lot split, and really you can see right here on this picture, here's his survey. He's just adding another 25 feet of frontage by 75 feet. And as you can see, the orientation of his current lot, his building is just right against his property line. If you go to the next slide on down, Kent, we'll look at that. So I want to be clear that we're not going to create a separate lot here. This is more like a lot line adjustment. We would like to use this process to just extend his property by this additional 25 by 75 feet. Because creating an additional lot here in this zoning would not have the correct frontage. It wouldn't be a proper lot. So that's really the request, is to add on to his property here. It does have access to Chestnut. It does have water access. And it would really just be married onto the current lot that's there. So the remaining portion of lot, you can see in this picture here, both of these, all of this property is owned by the same people. So there's also the correct amount of frontage left on those lots for that one person to have what they need in that zoning as well. Staff doesn't really see any problems, but we can answer any questions that you might have.
Motion to approve. Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the lot split. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Those opposed? And that motion carries.
Chairman, before we dismiss, I would like to take 1 minute and introduce our new Community Development Director, Leroy Alsop. And
Glad to meet you.
Leroy's coming to us with decades of municipal experience. He's done economic development. He's done some community development. He's done CDBG. And most recently, he was the city manager for the city of Guthrie. So he's coming to us with loads of experience. I'm actually hoping that Leroy can help teach me a few things, and I know he's going to be great for our community. Y'all are going to have a good time getting to know him. So, Leroy, would you like to say anything or introduce yourself to the group? I'm putting you on the spot.
Again, Leroy Alsop. I've got about 40 years of municipal government experience. My last tenure was city manager in Guthrie, and I was there a little over 6 years. And it may be a sad statement about Guthrie, but I was the longest tenured city manager they've had in modern history. But after 40 years, I decided it was time to maybe not be in charge of police and fire and ambulance and water and sewer, and step back a little bit. And so I was looking for communities that I thought was good communities where I could still contribute. Very impressed with the community of Enid, with the current administration you have and their approach to things. So I felt very comfortable with this community. Look forward to being here a number of years. And I would like to get involved in the community and look forward to getting to know you all.
Thank you very much. We're glad to have you with us.
Welcome to Enid.
If we have nothing else, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second to adjourn. All those in favor, aye? Aye. Those opposed? We're adjourned.
Couldn't help but notice as he was talking about that, your eyes were like,
The
hey, everybody else can stay here.